For this video, we will shade the mouth and nose. I'm starting with a B pencil, and I've laid down a nice layer of B all the way throughout the mouth area already. So now I'm shifting over to the 2B. And with this second layer of graphite, I'm looking at my photograph for the areas where there are the darkest shadows. Now you'll notice on this example that I'm working on, nothing else in the face is shaded. So keep in mind, you've already got your face shaded, your eyes shaded, and you have some pencil work done already throughout the cheeks. So as I build these areas up, you should most likely already have these areas with some graphite on them. Okay, so I'm working throughout the lip and the nose. I like to start with the nose because it's the tallest thing on our face. And so it has the brightest highlights, and then because of the nostrils, it has the darkest shadows. And so it gives us a really good sense of the range of highlight and shadow. Now remember, we're only using 2B right now, so I'm not going as dark as I possibly could. We still have the 4B pencil to push our values brighter. And for this example, for this demonstration, we're also going to use the kneadable eraser a little bit. You can see that eraser on my desk, just to the right of my hand. It's that gray, stretchable, kind of like plastic eraser that we have. We're going to use that not to erase, but rather to brighten highlights. So I want you to think about the kneadable eraser as a drawing tool, not a tool of correction. All right, I'm working all the way up what is called the bridge of the nose. The bridge of the nose is that long stretch of the nose between the tip and the eyes. If you feel your own bridge of the nose, you're going to sense that the top of the nose is the highest. Then you have two sides of the nose, two sides of the bridge that angle down to the cheeks. All of those surfaces receive light in different ways. Now you can see that I am coming down to the jawline and I'm building up the values in the jaw. You already have your neck shaded. In my example, I don't. And so we want to make sure that we're really observing in the photograph what's happening on the jawline versus the neck. On one side, you should have a pretty dark neck shadow, and the jaw will probably be brighter in that area than the neck. On the other side, you may find that the jaw is actually a little darker than the neck is. So we don't want to fall into the routine of just assuming what's happening or guessing what's happening. I want you to look at that photograph all the time to see exactly what's taking place. I'm moving up into the lips, okay? Now in the photograph I'm drawing from, the middle of the lips, the middle of the lower lip has a highlight on it, and the top lip is very much in shadow. Since I'm just using 2B, I'm going to build up the values in that upper lip and lower lip and not worry too much about the shadow because I can draw the shadow in using my kneadable eraser. People have a tendency to want to keep their teeth bright white, okay? But in the photograph, you're going to see that some of your teeth are in shadow. They're not all the same white value, okay? And that's because your teeth are not flat. Your row of teeth on top wrap around deeper into your head or further away from the camera. In the lips, especially your upper lip, is going to cast a shadow on those teeth. So your front teeth will most likely be the brightest, and then your side teeth will have some shadow on them as they go further back into the head. We're not going to shade these really dark, but we are going to lay some pencil on top of them. So with my 2B, I'm just very lightly layering a little bit of graphite on top of those teeth. Okay, I've cinched my hand down on the pencil a little bit so I can use the point of the pencil because now I'm starting to work up against the edges of the teeth as I build in shadow underneath those teeth. I'm not drawing the lower teeth in this example, okay? Because if I do that, it's going to confuse, it'll become confusing in that space. So I'm not going pitch black below the upper teeth, but I am shading it a little darker like a shadow. At all times, you should be looking back at your photograph to see exactly what's being presented to you. So at this point, I've switched over to the 4B, and that's allowing me to get some of these dark values really penciled in. I'm working with the point of the pencil right now as I work on the upper lip because it's a tight space, and so I want to have a lot of control. Again, I'm not pressing really hard. I don't want to go pitch black with the lip, but I do want to push that value to be dark. As I come up into the cheeks, I'm going to look at the dark shadow that she has, where her dimples are or the creases of the cheeks are, and build those values up. Okay, at all times we want to have smooth gradations or smooth blends from one value to another. The only time we want to have a hard edge is something like a lip, the teeth, maybe the nostrils, or the inside crease of the cheek. The edges of the eyes would be another example. But anywhere in the skin, we want the values to smoothly transition from dark to light or light to dark. Okay, so with that 4B, I'm blending my graphite while also making it darker. I've talked a lot about not using your fingers or a paper towel to blend graphite, but instead using graphite to blend graphite. So the 4B is our blending pencil. We're allowing the softness of that graphite to build up layers and to smoothly transition from dark to light. Okay? Because it's so soft, it gives us the ability to carefully apply more graphite. The 2B and the B pencils don't allow for us to do that. I'm keeping the top of the bridge of the nose very light. It only really has B and a little bit of 2B on it. And the sides of the nose are a little darker to show that they are in shadow. As I work down into the jawline, again, I'm trying to make sure I keep that jaw nice and tight, nice and hard-edged, because it is an edge that floats in front of the neck. We don't want the jaw and the neck to blend together. Trying to pay attention to the shadows underneath the lower lip. I'll say this again, all of the answers are in the photograph. Look at what's happening in the photo and try to replicate that in terms of shadow and highlight. Now, after I get some more of this value drawn in, I'm going to remember that I have that kneadable eraser to be able to go in and brighten some of my highlights, to draw some of those highlights back in. Right now you can see that I'm working on the gums, trying to darken those gums up so that it defines the upper part of the teeth. Now, at this point, the gums and the upper lip are the same value. Okay, so I'm going to have to differentiate the gums and the upper lip. And I'll do that by making the upper lip a little darker. Okay, at this point, I'm going to switch over to my eraser. This kneadable eraser can be stretched and shaped. And so I've made a small point with the eraser so that I can come into the bridge of the nose and lightly tap that eraser on the paper, very lightly touching the paper with it to remove just a little bit of graphite. As that eraser gets a little bit dirty, you can reposition it to have a clean edge.